of your goals or New Year resolutions is to have healthier relationships this year, the first step is setting healthy boundaries. As part of our Do More in 24 series, Counselor Mindy Cardeline is here with some tips. Mindy, good morning.
Good morning.
Now, boundaries. You said this is something that you deal with so often with all of your clients. Kind of hit on that. This is something that everyone can use in their lives, right?
Yes, so boundaries is one of my favorite topics to talk about because again, we need to set boundaries in almost all of our relationships. A lot of times when people are coming in, when we're seeking therapy for mental health issues, a lot of it's about our relationships with other people. So boundaries is a really good place to start.
So who should we set boundaries with? How do we know it's time to set a boundary?
Yes, so relationships do best when we have boundaries in any of our relationships. So we want to set boundaries with our family, with our partner, with work, our friends. Boundaries are really important across the board, and boundaries can be flexible. So as those relationships start to change, our boundaries are going to change. As we get to know people a little bit better, we start to trust them a little bit more, we can start to change what those boundaries look like.
So what type of boundaries should we set? I know just verbally saying, like, no, I can't do it. And just that simple task right there is hard for a lot of people. We're trying to avoid conflict, right?
Yes. So like you said, a lot of people have a hard time with anything that they think is going to be confrontational. It's difficult to say no. That brings a little bit of anxiety. But saying no is one of the best things that we can do to protect our own mental health and protect our space. Like you mentioned, communication is really one of the most important things that we can do with boundaries. And we want to be very clear about what our boundaries look like. And we can do that in a very kind and very gentle way. So it doesn't have to be like, no. It could be, something along the lines of, oh, I'm really glad that you thought about that for me, but I'm sorry, I just can't do that right now. So again, trying to communicate that using some of those I statements is going to be really important.
Now, you mentioned work relationships as well. How do you set boundaries with your job when there's someone in charge of you and your work performance and what you do daily?
Yes, so that is a little bit difficult, especially, when we want our boss to be happy with us. We want to be able to get promotions. We want to be able to kind of move up. So one of the things that we need to make sure, though, is that our work isn't intruding our home space. A lot of times what happens is we have a really hard time with that balance, particularly what we saw during the pandemic when a lot of people were working from home. We really didn't have that separation from work and home. So a lot of it is knowing clearly what your role at work is, being clear about those expectations. When I get home, I'm turning off my phone, I'm kind of leaving work at work. So that way we can communicate that with other people and enjoy the time that we're spending at home with our family.
And what about friendships? Some people, they have friends who kind of dump on them. Every call, it's like you're the trash can. How do you set boundaries with those type of people?
Yes, so that one is really hard because we want to be good supports for our friends. Again, going back to being very clear. So letting them know, hey, I appreciate that you trust me enough to share this with me, but I just don't have the capacity to handle that right now. Definitely we can validate their feelings. I understand that that's really frustrating. And then maybe we want to point them in the direction of, maybe you would really benefit from talking to a therapist.
Yeah. Well, before I let you go, the long-term benefits of boundaries are what?
So the first thing that we notice is that's going to boost our self-esteem. We feel more confident when we're able to say no, when we're able to assert our boundaries in a way that's going to be, received pretty well. The other thing that we notice is it's going to prevent burnout. When we don't have healthy boundaries, we're taking too much stuff on, we're going to burn out really fast. Yeah. And that also leads to resentment. So if somebody is doing something and they keep doing it and they don't know that we don't appreciate that, we're starting to get resentful. And on their end, they don't even know that it's bothering us.
Great information. As always, Counselor Mindy Cardeline, thank you so much. I'm sure this is news a lot of people can use. And if you missed any of our other Do More in 2024 interviews, head to WFMJ.com to catch up. We've got some from finances to organizing your home, cooking more in the kitchen, strengthening your core, and strengthening your mental health through setting boundaries. Thanks to Counselor Mindy Cardeline. Thank you so much, Mindy. It is now time for the question of the day. Here's a look at today's question. If you know the answer, give us a call, and good luck.